Welcome back to the Mind Body Manifest podcast. I am your host, Laura, and I'm so excited about this episode today because today we're talking about something that I think most people really avoid, but it's honestly one of the most important keys to quantum leaping your reality. And that is choosing discomfort on purpose, leaping into the unknown, surrendering and trusting the universe, trusting your intuition, even when your fear is screaming louder. And just allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to expand. Because I have learned this over and over in my life that your discomfort will always mirror your level of growth. So if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're not really willing to grow. That's how we learn and grow and evolve and expand, is through being uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable because it's usually something new. It's something we haven't experienced before. And that really requires you to be uncomfortable, to approach things from the sense of being a beginner. Change usually brings new beginnings, new things, and that requires us to sometimes start over or start with a beginner's mindset. And that can be so scary sometimes. It can be so hard to be uncomfortable. And the more you can practice finding some sort of comfort in being uncomfortable, the easier it's going to be to face those challenges, to leap into the unknown, to face change, to grow, and to evolve. So that's what we're talking about today inside of this episode. And if you've been on the edge of growth, of change, maybe you're navigating a big life change right now, this episode is for you. I want you to know that this is your little nudge that you need to start trusting yourself to be in that space, that it's okay to be uncomfortable, and that leaning in to that discomfort is what's going to help you the most. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, let's be real. Comfort really is kind of sneaky because most people say that they want to manifest their dream life, their big vision, their life goals. They want to call in the next level success, the love of their lives. They want to manifest millions of dollars and more freedom. But then they end up making all of their decisions from their comfort zone. They live in the same city that they grew up in. They have the same circle of friends that they've always been friends with. They are going to the same job and they have the same exact schedule every single day. Or they just have the same stories that they're telling themselves, playing on repeat in their mind over and over and over again. And the truth is that you can't build a new reality. You cannot manifest or create a new reality from the same energy that created the old one, from the one that you're in now, which means that you have to stretch, that you have to get uncomfortable. Okay. So let me give you some real life examples from my own life because I have faced this so many times. I feel like I've navigated change a lot. And I'm probably going to go off on some tangents here, but we're just going to go with it. So, for example, I have moved cities so many times. I've probably lived only in one place no longer than 3 to 5 years. Every 3 to 5 years, I move around. So from college, I went to Florida State. Afterwards, I moved to San Diego, was living there for about 3 years. Then I moved to Denver. From San Diego to Denver, lived there for maybe 4 years. From Denver, I moved to LA, lived there for 5 years, then back to Florida for 3 years. And I just moved to Denver about a year ago with my husband and our son. And every time I've moved has been a massive leap into the unknown because I didn't always have a plan. I didn't always know people or have a job set up. I've had to start fresh many times. But every time I did this, my confidence grew. I got more clarity and more capacity to expand. When I moved to San Diego, right after college, I had no job. I think I moved there with just enough money to get by for like a month or two. And I decided I'm just going to find a job when I get there. And I did. That it lit a fire under my ass because I didn't have a plan B. I had a place to live with some friends, but I had no plan. I had no job set up. And that was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I found a hostess job. One guy that I met there introduced me to all of these other people. I made bunches of friends just from that one connection. One girl ended up being one of my best friends and a bridesmaid in my wedding that I met from the guy that worked at that restaurant. And the same has been true for every place I've moved. When I moved to LA, I moved there with my boyfriend at the time. I've probably talked about this on the podcast before. We broke up basically as soon as we got there, and I didn't know anyone in LA. I had friends still in San Diego. I had friends in Denver where I had moved there from. My job transferred me from Denver to LA. I could easily go back if I wanted to, or I could probably transfer to the San Diego market. I had options that would have felt more safe or easier, more comfortable because I didn't know anyone in LA, but there was something within me that told me to stay, even though it was uncomfortable. I had my job, but I didn't have anywhere to live. I had to find an apartment. I had to find a new roommate. I ended up living with a roommate that I found on Craigslist, which worked out really well. She was really great. But all of that is really uncomfortable. And I did the hard thing. Something within me, within my intuition said, no, you need to be here. You need to stay. This place has something for you. And I had no idea what was in store for me. I had no real plan for being in LA, but being in LA was the place where my entire life changed. It's where I had my spiritual awakening. It's where I met more girlfriends that became bridesmaids, just meeting them so randomly. One of my friends I met waiting in line for the bathroom at a bar in LA. And it's where I met my husband. And LA will forever be one of my favorite places. And that will be one of my favorite decisions I've ever made for myself, was trusting my intuition to stay when it was uncomfortable, to stay when there was no plan, to stay when so much was unknown, but something within me told me to stay, and I did. And I'm telling you this because you're going to face decisions where the question is, do I do what's comfortable, or do I face my fears and face the unknown? And every time I've done that, it's been the best decision I've ever made. Another example is when I was still in my corporate job in Los Angeles, I really decided to stretch myself and move into my own apartment. I had always lived with roommates, but I'd never lived by myself. And paying for my own apartment in Venice Beach, across from the Venice sign, which is like an iconic spot, like across from the beach, right in the heart of Venice. It was not cheap to live there. And it was a little scary. I remember seeing the price tag and being like, okay, this is the most I've ever paid for rent, and all by myself. I had to really stretch myself into that identity, into being the version of myself who could not only afford that, but just live there, that was that person. It was a big upgrade for me. But I knew in my gut that this was the place, this was the frequency, this was the identity that I wanted to be living in. And it really was a catalyst for the start of my online business and my entire manifestation journey, because living in that apartment, I did my yoga teacher training. I started my online business, and my business really took off starting in that apartment. And it was a stretch, but I did it. I leapt into the unknown, and the net appeared. Every time I do this, every time I leap into the unknown and I trust my intuition, things tend to work out. Another one is, I had never attended a retreat before I decided to host my own, which is a little scary, right? I created the type of experience that I would want to go on. And I had a lot of time to grow my coaching business before I hosted my first retreat, which helped a lot to learn marketing and had my business up and running and selling to clients. But I had never actually attended a retreat before I hosted one. And I think so many people, they back out of their dreams because they feel like, oh, well, I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the experience. How could I possibly do something like that? But it's your belief in yourself. It's your conviction, your inner conviction that I'm not only capable of doing this, but I'm meant to do this. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And that inner conviction, that belief within yourself is what creates and manifests the outcomes that you desire to experience. So what is that for you? Have you ever noticed when you are faced with a decision, it's almost like you're faced with two different paths because your mind will start to question, am I making a decision out of fear? Or am I following my intuition? So how do you know the difference between whether you're following your intuition or following your fear? And the simplest way that I can describe this is that fear tends to feel very constrictive. It feels frantic, like I have to figure this all out right now. It's rooted in survival. Like if I don't do this, I'm gonna blah, 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 blah. It's your mind overthinking things. Fear tends to be much more heavy and just constrictive. And your intuition is always going to feel expansive in a way. It might feel scary as fuck, but it will also expand you. So when I'm making a big decision, I like to check in with my body and start to ask my body, does this decision feel constricting? Or does it feel expansive? And your intuition will stretch you, but it will never shame you or pressure you. Fear always feels like pressure. And in order to actually listen to your intuition and take that leap into the unknown, you have to be vulnerable. And most people avoid being vulnerable because it's scary. Right? In order to grow, you have to be willing to be seen, to be the new girl. You have to be willing to fail or to get it wrong. You have to be willing to be a beginner and suck at it before you get better. And this is why I feel so strongly that entrepreneurship is the biggest personal development journey you could ever go on, because it forces you to be so vulnerable. It forces you to be a beginner. You have to learn so many different skills. Like as a coach, I didn't have to just learn how to be a coach and be good at coaching people. I also have to learn marketing and sales and finances and so many different things. And that required me to be a beginner. I tend to be very competitive. I'm a life path 1, which is all about leadership. When I do something, I want to be the best at it. I like to win. I like to be number 1. And so having to go back to being a beginner and to like suck at it is scary. Starting a podcast is scary. I have to be so vulnerable, showing up here every week and talking to you and sharing about my life. It's scary. It's what are people going to think? Are so-and-so going to judge me? Like all of these fears and things come up, and that is part of how you grow. If you never put yourself out there, you're losing out on what could be the best life you've ever experienced. It's not just about the vulnerability that it takes to build a business, but it's also about relationships. If you've ever been hurt before from a relationship, which who hasn't, it can be hard to open up to the next one, to be really vulnerable, to put yourself out there, right? We tend to shut ourselves down. We put walls up to protect ourselves from the pain that we've already experienced. But that doesn't actually help you grow. Staying safe, playing small, just keeps you right there. And that's part of what our nervous system is designed to do. Your nervous system is designed to protect you, to keep you safe, no matter what. And this is why I love incorporating nervous system work along with subconscious reprogramming, because when your mind starts to go down that path of all the fears and your nervous system, your body is like, nope, we've experienced that pain in the past before. We don't want to go there again. You end up sabotaging, or you play small, you hide, you don't open up your heart. And then you're stuck in these cycles of experiencing the same types of situations, relationships that you don't want to have. And it's just, you feel like you're stuck. So in order to really be able to trust your intuition, to be vulnerable, to do the scary thing that expands you, you have to train your mind and body to feel safe. And the way to do that is practicing doing the scary thing. The more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you face your challenges, the more you face change head on and you just dive right into it, the more you're training your body to feel safe with challenges, with change. And so if you are sitting on a big leap right now, if you're at the edge where the fear is so loud, but there's a part of your soul that's just whispering, yes, you need to do this. Start trusting it. Start trusting that little voice within you that's pulling you towards expansion, because you don't have to feel ready. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. You do not have to feel ready. You just need to be willing to take the first step. It's taking the action and deciding that you are ready, even when you may not feel ready. Ready is more of a decision than a feeling that makes all the difference. What's waiting on the other side of the leap is your next level, is so much possibility. So if you're ready to learn how to do that, how to start trusting your intuition more, how to feel safe expanding into your next level, whether that's within your life, your relationships, your career, your business, so that you can start taking aligned action towards the life that you truly want to create, then I would love to support you. This is exactly the work that I do with my clients inside of all of my programs, inside of my one-on-one coaching, inside of the embodied membership. I am truly an expert in this because I have trained my mind and body to do it over and over and over again. I've done so many things that have scared me. I was talking to a group of friends that I had lived with out here in Colorado years ago. We all went whitewater rafting. Now, I have been whitewater rafting a lot since I was a kid. I've done it all over the world. I've gone whitewater rafting in Costa Rica, in Thailand, in Montana, in North Carolina, Colorado, like so many times that I'm not scared because I've done it so many times. I've gone down big rapids, I've fallen out, all these things. And the last time that we went whitewater rafting, two of them fell out. And to them, it was kind of traumatic. I mean, we were laughing about it, but it was like kind of traumatic. They're like, I'm never going again. I'm never whitewater rafting in Colorado. It's just a reminder for me that the more you put yourself out there and you do the thing that scares you, it does get easier with time. The more you train your body to just embrace what's uncomfortable, it gets easier. So don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up because you experienced something that was scary. The next time you do it, I promise it won't be as scary. So this is your invitation, your nudge, your reminder to do the thing that scares you, that expands you. And if you are looking for more support to help you in doing this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to drop some links at the bottom of this episode, and I would love to connect with you. And that's it for today. I'll see you next week.